Great game, wasn't it, Joe? Nothing like a cold shower to freshen you up.
Sure there is, Harry. Try one of these new cigarettes.
Hey, that is fresh and clean. What is this cigarette?
It's the new Spud.
What's that?
Spud! The new filter Spud.
Are you kidding? I used to smoke Spuds years ago. Sure never tasted anything like this.
Yeah, but this is a new Spud. Completely new cigarette. Got a terrific new taste, just a touch of menthol.
Get a load of this filter.
Hey, I can actually taste the tobacco through the new Spud filter.
Let me see that new Spud package again.
Here you go.
Just what I thought. That's the new flip-top box. What a cigarette. Fresh, clean taste. Good filter. Crush-proof box. New filter Spud. Terrific.
Picturesque Manizales, 7,000 feet up in the Colombian Andes, is the nation's coffee capital. And a capital affair is the 9-day fiesta and selection of a coffee queen. Thousands crowd the town to the rafters, coffee growers, plantation workers, townsfolk, and pleasure-seeking Colombians. Following the parade of floats, the scene shifts as pretty senoritas from 15 South American countries compete for the title. Chosen coffee queen is Annalida Alfaro of Panama. She will be flown to Washington for a White House reception by President Eisenhower.
As recalled by a lady's diary.
The other day I came across an entry that brought back memories. March 1st, 1944, Joe's coming home on furlough. I remember one rub, I couldn't get camels. Maybe he'd bring some. Well, Joe arrived and it was pretty wonderful. Later, I apologized for not having camels. I'd rounded up 5 brands, but no camels. I said, at least you'll have variety. I remember Joe smoking one of those cigarettes. His expression said, I'll take camels any day.
Yes, during the wartime cigarette shortage, people smoked any brand they could get and compared the different brands. Compared them in their T-zones, T for taste, T for throat. And they decided they liked Camels best for cool mildness and rich, full flavor. Result? More people are smoking Camels than ever before. Yes, experience is the best teacher. Try a Camel yourself.
What'll it be this morning? Coffee?
Yes, Gracie. Cup of coffee before I start out.
More prospects. Where am I going to find them? How am I going to get them?
Take it easy, Jim, old man. Take it easy. You've gotten over tougher hurdles than this before. Prospects are all around you, wherever you go.
Is that so?
Of course it's so. Take this store, for instance.
Papa Eddie, my coffee, it's murder. It's either too bitter or too weak.
Try Folgers. Never bitter, never weak, always nice and rich, because Folgers coffee is mountain grown.
Mountain grown?
Like the sign says, mountain grown for richer flavor. Mountains is where the best coffee comes from.
Well, all right.
We Americans know what we like, and we really do like coffee. Did I say like? Well, we use more than 3 billion pounds of coffee every year. Where does it all come from? Mostly from South America. So let's fly down and get the story firsthand.
The visitor from Mars dropping in on our planet Earth today could find some of our social customs very curious. Well might he echo the astonishment of those 15th century Spanish explorers in the reports they brought back from the newfound Americas.
And we were greatly amazed upon seeing that many of the natives, who at first we were much alarmed to think to have set themselves afire, were putting into their mouths tubes or cylinders burning at their ends, the which they would suck and would breathe in the smoke thereof. And by their comfortable demeanor, it was manifest that this was for them a custom of some importance, and one from which they appeared to derive the liveliest satisfaction. Indeed, we witnessed the spectacle of some who are offering these strange tubes one unto another, making fire and flame to boot, as a means to ignite them withal.
Today, more than 500 years after the American Indians were first recorded as smoking rolled-up tobacco leaves, we are still doing it. But why?
They sure work hard, don't they, Barney?
Yeah? I hate to see them work so hard.
Yeah, me too. Let's go around back where we can't see them.
Gee, we ought to do something, Fred.
Okay. How's about taking a nap?
I got a better idea. Let's take a Winston break.
That's it. Winston is the one filter cigarette that delivers flavor 20 times a pack. Winston's got that filter blend.
Yeah, Fred. Filter blend makes the big taste difference, and only Winston has it up front where it counts. Here, ahead of the pure white filter. Winston packs rich tobaccos specially selected and specially processed for good flavor in filter smoking.
Yeah, Barney, Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should.
The Flintstones has been brought to you by Winston, America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Nestled in the fertile coastal regions of southeastern United States is the heart of our tobacco country, Tobaccoland, USA. With moisture provided by gentle rains from the Atlantic and warmed and nurtured by the sparkling southern sun, these colorful tobacco plants ripen and mature to provide mankind with one of the real comforts and luxuries of life, a satisfying and relaxing smoke. The Old Virginia Tobacco Company, home of famous Humbar cigarettes, the menthol carbonated cigarette, is one of the many big producers in Tobaccoland, USA. Let's go behind the scenes where we see the Old Virginia Tobacco Company in a state of excitement. The quarterly sales report has just arrived, and the big question on everyone's lips
is this coffee? Well, no. This is coffee. Our story begins here with coffee. Its flavor caught in the closed fist of the bean, freed then by the grinding mills in an endless cascade, brewed into a beverage that is consumed in the hundreds of millions of cupfuls each day. In this beverage that has become so much a part of our lives, there is a background, a tradition that reaches deeply into the culture of many lands.
Sweeter girls have something. Concentration. Sweeter, the concentrated, no-calorie sweetener in the little bottle. Just 2 drops are the same as 1 teaspoon of sugar, but without the calories. Sweet is as sweet tasting as sugar, the best tasting of all leading artificial sweeteners. And you don't need 6 or 8 or 10 drops. Just 2 drops of Sweeter are all it takes. At that rate, a little Sweeter goes a long way. In fact, there's enough sweetening power in 1 little bottle of Sweeter to sweeten 380 cups of coffee. About 100 more than the sweeteners in the big bottles. Sweeter girls have something all right. Sweeter, also in tablet or granule form.
Maxwell House Coffee presents Mama, starring Peggy Wood. Yes, here's Mama, brought to you by Maxwell House Coffee, the richer, mellower blend. Already a favorite in Mama's time, today more people buy and enjoy Maxwell House than any other brand at any price. Today, as always, this sign of good coffee means Maxwell House. The coffee that's always good to the last drop.
Newport tastes fresher, tastes better too. Newport tastes fresher, tastes better too. Newport tastes fresher, tastes better too than any other menthol cigarette. Newport tastes fresher, tastes better too.
It's alive!
Than any other menthol cigarette.
Can't you all watch where you're going, boy?
I, Miss Calhoun, am on important business for the big boss himself. These are the latest figures on the campaign to make every man, woman, and child in the whole country a cigarette smoker.
Oh, listen to me, lady, listen to me, bud. If you wanna be mouth happy, then you wanna smoke Spud. Spud cigarettes are cooler than cool. Smoke Spud cigarettes, that's the mouth happy rule.
Spud cigarettes make you mouth happy. Here's why. In Spud cigarettes, you enjoy choice, mild, mellow tobaccos, and blended so skillfully with fresh minted menthol that the full, rich tobacco taste still comes through. Yes, Spud cigarettes are so skillfully mentholated that Spuds are actually cooler than cool. So, friends, don't stop smoking. Switch to Spuds and be mouth happy. Here, try them. That's right, Spud cigarettes are actually cooler than cool. Even when you have a cold, and ordinary cigarettes taste like hay. Get Spud today, tipped or plain ends. Cost no more than ordinary cigarettes.
Spud cigarettes are cooler than cool. Smoke Spud cigarettes, that's the mouth happy rule.
This is a coffee blossom. 8 to 9 months after this blooming, the coffee fruit ripens and looks very much like a cherry. Picked by skilled workers who know just when the ripe berries should be plucked, the average tree bears enough coffee beans to make about 1 pound of roasted coffee a year. Each plantation has its assembly points, where the day's pick is brought in to be weighed and bagged. This is just one step in more than 24 major operations required in bringing your cup of coffee to the table.
Let that historic chant remind you that Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. Lucky Strike presents Mark Warno and the Lucky Strike Orchestra, the hit paraders, and the singing star of your hit parade, Frank Sinatra.
The many processes it must undergo are all devoted to creating good coffee, with its secrets of aroma and body and taste, to which the talents of millions of men are devoted during their lifetime, to which tradition, rich in the lore of centuries and faraway places, sets its fine hand to bring these three elements into precise flavor. The tastes of fine coffee extend over a wide range, but for each palate, there is a flavor that is just right. Around the world, they drink this beverage in its many exotic forms.
A present from the boss, to be used twice daily as a memento of how time flies. A funny present? Well, it's all according to what you mean by funny. It's no laughing matter. In fact, it has to do with a very serious problem. The grains of sand in this hourglass have been carefully measured. 10 minutes, the length of a coffee break. The problem? Well, it seems like some people just don't know how to tell time, and according to the boss, it's costing the company thousands of dollars every year. Now, don't get me wrong. I like coffee.
A mere 3 centuries back, boys at Eton, the English public school, were soundly whipped if they neglected to smoke, for tobacco was highly regarded as a means of warding off the plague.
The cigarette is the perfect type of a perfect pleasure.
Oscar Wilde wrote in 1891.
It is exquisite, and it leaves one unsatisfied. What more can you want?
All very epigrammatic, but scarcely informative. So why do we smoke? Well, that's a question which exercises the minds of a great number of scientific disciplines and has given birth to whole libraries full of learned papers.
When Columbus sent his companion, Miguel de Torre, to explore the interior of the newly discovered continent, he returned with the report that he had seen natives who sat before burning pieces of wood upon which they placed dried leaves and then inhaled the smoke through tubes inserted in their nostrils. This was the first acquaintance of white men with tobacco. The fragrant leaves of the Indians quickly spread around the world. Today, the labor and skill of thousands of families goes into the growing and processing of tobacco. Tobacco plants grow on millions of acres of fertile soil, soil that might otherwise be used to produce food. From cured tobacco leaves, such generally known products as snuff, chewing tobacco, pipe tobacco, cigars, and cigarettes are made. More stores sell tobacco than bread, and money spent on tobacco could pay for half our schools. This then is an example of a product that represents one of America's largest farm crops and one of the most controversial consumer articles.
A dream of Paris expressed in café au lait, a continental favorite, half coffee and half hot milk.
A cigarette that's low in tar and nicotine, high in menthol flavor. New Montclair. Just enough in every puff makes every puff a pleasure. How much is just enough? Just enough menthol to please your taste. Montclair's new charcoal menthol filter does it. Charcoal granules that are both activated and mentholated release just enough menthol to freshen every puff, so every puff tastes as good as the first puff. What's so modern about Montclair? The answer is in Montclair's modern menthol flavor. Yet Montclair is surprisingly low in tar and nicotine. But the flavor's still there when you smoke Montclair. Just enough in every puff makes every puff a pleasure. Smoke Montclair, new from the American Tobacco Company.
How then do we make the perfect cup of coffee to our taste? Success lies in a single word: care. 3 simple ingredients go into the brewing process: water, coffee, time. Care will produce a perfect result every time. The beginning is the coffee pot, and there are as many varieties and types as taste will dictate. Yet, each is intended to do the same thing in a different way, to produce perfection in a coffee cup.
Now listen to this. The hot cups of coffee enjoyed by about 27 million Americans is costing industry more than $1 billion annually. Now think of that. Over $1 billion.
The A&P has its own coffee experts right on the spot to test and grade the contents of each bag to see that it meets the company's quality standards. Samples are flown to the United States, together with the experts' appraisals of grade and value. The people are modern, up-to-date, and eager to trade with their good neighbors to the north. When the coffee crop is good, business is good, for coffee means the same to these people and their ability to buy the things they need as wheat to a farmer in Nebraska or corn to Iowa and Kansas.
What does this product contain, and how does it affect those who use it? What tobacco smoke contains is simple to determine. Here is a scientifically designed apparatus for collecting the content of the smoke under controlled conditions. Smoking is a process of dry distillation. By dry distillation, we mean the transformation of dry substances into vapor.
Yes, there's an air coffee that's full-bodied, refreshing. Hot coffee makes any time a pleasant interlude. Won't you have some now?
All the products normally inhaled by a smoker are in these bottle traps filled with liquids. Supplementary traps called bubblers catch any substances not collected in the flasks. The liquid in 2 of the flasks absorbs the nicotine, and in the other 2 flasks, it collects the tarry substances out of the burning tobacco.
What? Keeping the coffee in the icebox?
Yes, Mr. Jones, it's a new kind of coffee, roasted by a new secret process. Hence, this new none such coffee has a different flavor, a flavor preserved by vacuum packing, the flavor retained by refrigeration after the jar has been opened. Just taste it. You can't miss that delicate aroma, that clean, mellow taste. Yes, in cooking, the way to a man's heart is most of all through the coffee pot. In every jar, you'll find 3 special pointers, valuable in all methods of making coffee. Try new none such coffee now. Use half the jar. If not 100% satisfied, get all your money back from your grocer without argument. Special for movie week only 28 cents a pound, plus 3 cents refundable deposit on the jar.
From the first group of flasks, chemists isolate nicotine by distillation. The amount of nicotine obtained in this process is, of course, small and can only be measured by very delicate instruments. The ultraviolet spectrophotometer, for instance, is often used to measure minute amounts of nicotine. Different cigarettes, even of the same brand, sometimes vary in weight and quantity of nicotine. Variations from 1 to 3 milligrams per cigarette have been recorded. 1 milligram is about this much, and 3 times this amount could cause nicotine poisoning.
Back in the 60s, for example, some psychoanalysts were suggesting a link with the oral satisfaction we experience from breastfeeding.
C'est un peu une tarte à la crème, je crois, pourrait-on dire, parce que vraiment tout ce qu'on porte à sa bouche à ce moment-là est une substitution du sein de la mère. On peut le dire évidemment pour le fait de fumer, mais on a prisé le tabac et je ne pense pas qu'on se soit jamais mis le mamelon maternel dans le nez.
The liquid in the second pair of flasks contains tars. It is first diluted with water, then chloroform is added. The chloroform dissolves the tars from the solution. Since chloroform and water do not mix, the chloroform mixture separates from the water as soon as the shaking stops. Finally, chloroform is evaporated out of the mixture by boiling, leaving the tars behind in the measuring cup.
From the most abundant plantations of the coffee countries, from the choicest of the coffee trees there, a whole new blend of the world's finest coffees, the new Sanka coffee. Make some sometime soon. Make it any strength you like. The point is, the richness straight from those coffee plantations always cuts through, reaches back, and discovers taste buds you possibly never even knew you had. Fix it any way you like your coffee to be fixed. You just can't cover up this pure coffee goodness. Have another cup. Remarkably, this new Sanka coffee is still 97% caffeine-free. You'll find the new Sanka coffee at your store in this big new 8-ounce size and this nice-to-hold new jar. Hold it soon.
Cigarette tars consist of a variety of substances which can be further separated chemically. Here are some of the more important constituents of cigarette tars. Some may be considered irritants, others stimulants, and some as having no known effect upon the human organism.
The canals of Venice and the romance of cappuccino, like cafe au lait, but topped with whipped cream and a sprinkle of grated orange peel.
Oh, listen to me, lady, listen to me, bud. If you wanna be mouth happy, then you wanna smoke Spud.
Yes, Spud cigarettes, finer, milder tobaccos with a touch of fresh minted menthol. They're actually cooler than cool. They're actually cooler than cool. They're actually cooler than cool. So be mouth happy. Get Spud today, tipped or plain ends at regular prices.
For the past 2 weeks, I've studied the coffee break habits of our people. Now, that 10 minutes starts when they get their hands on the cup of coffee.
There's not much happening in this old town. They roll up the streets when the sun goes down. What we need, I'm telling you true, is a coffee house rendezvous.
Here's the way it went. The cigarettes are sissy. Some people think that filter cigarettes of any kind are kind of sissy, and we want to make it masculine. I said, what's the most masculine symbol you can think of? And right off the top of his head, one of these writers spoke up and said, a cowboy. I said, that's for sure. I said, go over there and draw this cowboy roughly. I have some layout pads, and let's make a great big sketch of this cowboy out of this book here.
I can ride to the drive-in, no polish my chrome, or watch television with the old folks at home.
coffee house is a great idea for kids. You know, a place of our own without a lot of parents peering down our backs.
The music of old Vienna in a cup. Viennese coffee, often spiced, but always with a drift of whipped cream.
All smoke, including cigarette smoke, contains some carbon monoxide, a poisonous gas that combines readily with the hemoglobin of the red blood cells and prevents it from absorbing oxygen in the lungs and giving it off to the tissues. Very little is known about how much harm carbon monoxide from smoking does. All these tarry substances are the products of burning. They are not in the green tobacco leaves. But unlike tars, nicotine is found in the unburned tobacco. In smoking, some of the nicotine enters the body.
At our refreshment stand, your wish is our command. So the coffee we serve there is pure perfection.
When we light a cigarette, about 25% of the nicotine is destroyed chemically by fire. Behind the glowing tip, in the zone where tobacco is heated to a medium temperature, gases containing nicotine arise from the leaves. About 30% of these gases pass out into the atmosphere, while the remaining 45% continue to flow with the main air current towards the mouth. However, the major portion of the nicotine does not reach the mouth. It is deposited on the cold tobacco particles which it passes on the way.
New York, New Orleans, and San Francisco are the principal ports through which coffee arrives in the United States. Here, licensed graders spear each bag for fresh samples and taste test the shipment to make certain the coffee they've bought compares with the reports and samples from South America.
Monday morning, we set the type on the ad. We dug up another picture of a cowboy, and we slapped this together in a matter of less than 24 hours, I would say. Well, the art director brought it in and showed it to me, and I just jumped out of my chair. I mean, I've been in the advertising business quite a while, but this is one of the greatest things I'd ever seen. Every instinct I had told me that this was it, you see.
Wouldn't a cigarette taste good right now? Wouldn't you like a Marlboro? Get a world of flavor. Have one with me. Have a Marlboro cigarette. You got a lot to like with a Marlboro filter, flavor, pack or box.
Animal experiments enable us to observe the action of massive doses of nicotine. Note the blood vessels in this rabbit's ear. An injection of nicotine affects the rabbit's blood vessels dramatically. Watch how the small arteries in the rabbit's ear gradually disappear as the blood vessels tighten up under the stimulating action of nicotine.
This is the story of absent-minded Frank Thayer. Frank walks back from lunch and sees a sight that unnerves him for a moment. A line of people a block long. Visions of wartime shortages. No stockings, no steaks and chops, little or no gasoline, and waiting in line for an hour for one pack of cigarettes, any brand. In a flash, Frank realizes he's seeing a movie cue. Just to reassure himself, Frank stops at the tobacco store for a carton of Camels. He says to the clerk, "I was just thinking of the days when you might as well have asked for a bushel of diamonds as a carton of Camels." Yes, during the wartime shortage, folks smoked many different brands and compared them. That experience taught smoker after smoker that Camel's cool mildness and rich, full flavors suit them best. Try a Camel on your T-zone. T for taste, T for throat. Your proving ground for any cigarette. See for yourself why more people are smoking Camels than ever before.
To make a good cup of coffee, your coffee maker must be clean, free from all remembrances of that last pot of coffee, ready to begin its work anew, fresh and really clean. Water. Into 100,000 pots an hour, water flows in the coffee-making process. Water. Too much or too little? Boiled first or later? Or not at all? For how long? And yet, there is only one correct way. Water, the first element, carefully measured, clean and cold. 3/4 of a measuring cup for each cup of coffee, then brought to a full boil.
Amalgamated tried that. They really did it up brown. Stood the expense. Had an attendant come in twice daily. And at first, everybody thought it was a great idea. It was something for nothing. Right away, the boss was a great guy. But it wasn't long until...
This is coffee?
Gets worse every day. Gee, what a chintzy outfit.
And it wasn't long before human nature began to show through in other ways.
Harold, is the coffee all right?
Mm-mm.
You mean it's as bad as yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
No improvement at all?
Mm-mm.
Harold, don't just shake your head. You've got to tell me what's wrong with the coffee.
Bad taste.
Now what am I going to do? Oh, Mary, hi.
Hello, Jane.
Listen, help me out, will you? Harold hates my coffee. What kind do you use?
Instant Folgers.
Instant Folgers?
Tastes good as fresh perked.
Good as fresh perked? I'll try it.
Gene, this coffee is delicious. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same kind we've been using, is it?
Mm-mm.
Don't just shake your head. Explain why the coffee's so good.
Good taste.
Tastes good as fresh perked. Instant Folgers.
Hiya, Mr. Flintstone.
Greetings, Rocky, my boy. Pack of Winstons, please.
Oh, you like them Winston cigarettes, huh, Mr. Flintstone?
But of course, they really got something.
You bet your life. Folks who really enjoy smoking know it's what's up front that counts. And that's where Winston steps out ahead of the crowd with their exclusive filter blend. Choice golden tobaccos, specially selected and specially processed for filter smoke.
Hold it.
What you mean?
What are you pitching Winstons at me for? You know I never smoke nothing else.
Just practicing, Mr. Flintstone. Everybody knows that.
Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should.
Yeah.
See you soon, Rocky.
The mystery of Istanbul and the eastern lands in Turkish coffee. Foam hiding the rich, sweet brew.
By engaging in smoking behavior says, well, this is how I do certain things. This is how I present myself. This is how I see myself. This is how I would like you to see me.
Aber ich glaube nicht, dass es noch sehr stark Funktion hat, von einer spezifischen Persönlichkeit auszustellen oder sich zu beweisen als besonders starker Mensch. Das ist es wahrscheinlich heute nicht mehr. Aber es erleichtert den sozialen Kontakt unter Rauchern.
smoother, smooth all the way. Newport's fresh menthol keeps it that way. Smoother and fresher, day after day. The smoothest tasting menthol cigarette.
What's going on?
Nothing, dear.
Newport tastes smoother, day after day. The smoothest tasting menthol cigarette.
Well, Gary decided he wanted to build a coffee house and asked me if it'd be all right if he used a little portion of the basement to have a place of his own, and he had an open house and he had about 30 kids out. And it was so successful that he decided he'd like to have a little bigger, and he asked if he could have about 6 more feet of our basement. And then he took another 6 feet, and finally wound up that we decided that we ought to make it a little more permanent.
Having a coffee house in their home helps keep the teenagers off the street. It gives them something to do and something to an outlet for their energies.
Well, we serve coffee for a purpose. The part of the general theme of a coffee house and what everybody associates with coffee is coffee itself.
I realized when people think of coffee houses, right away they think of beatniks and anything that's linked with them. But what we're trying to show is where kids can get together, really something unique and inspiring, I think, about a coffee house.
Yes, dear.
Give me a cigarette, will you, hon?
Don't say cigarettes, say Philip Morris.
Oh? Is there any other kind?
Not for you, there isn't. Nothing but the best for Mr. Ricardo.
Thank you. Lucy, you're so good to me.
You see how easy it is to keep a man happy? Why not give your husband a carton of Philip Morris cigarettes?
Smart move. He'll love them for their mildness, their smoothness, and their wonderful good taste. And he'll love you, too, for thinking of him.
That's right. Good night, everybody. And don't forget, call for Philip Morris. Call for Philip Morris!
To a new bride. It's a groom, groom, groom to a singer. It's a tune, tune, tune to a party. It's the merriment to a smoker. It's a Kent. The taste of Kent. The taste of Kent. The taste of Kent. More taste, fine tobacco. To a golfer. It's a hole-in-one to a batter. It's a big home run to a hero. It's a monument to a smoker. It's a Kent. The taste of Kent. The taste of Kent. The taste of Kent. More taste, fine tobacco.
If you smoke a filter cigarette, try the taste of Kent.
Coffee, fresh. And again, questions. What grind? Percolator? Drip? Or fine? How much? Coffee, the second element. Your favorite blend? The proper grind for your coffee maker. 1 level CBI measure per cup. This, found in many homes, is the same as this, a Coffee Brewing Institute approved measure. So whether you use one or the other, the measurement will be the same, and it will be accurate.
This is the best, Chesterfield, and the time to change today. Yes, it's the Perry Como Show, all the top tunes on TV and radio, brought to you by Chesterfield.
The quality is high in every Chesterfield you buy. The nicotine is low and we can show the reason why. We analyze tobaccos, we experiment and test. So when you're buying Chesterfields, you know you buy the best. Chesterfields for me, Chesterfields for me. You just say it's Chesterfields for me.
Now, here he is, Perry Como.
I told you the PTA's coming tonight, George. I'm too busy for nonsense.
PTA, huh? Gonna serve your coffee?
If you joke about my coffee again, you hear, Mrs. Olson, like a broken record.
Well, as one committee member to another, maybe you should try Folger's coffee.
Why Folgers?
They blend it special. Folgers uses mountain-grown coffee.
Mountain-grown?
Yeah, that's the richest kind. Bet your husband tastes the difference.
Mrs. Olson, I'll try Folgers on him tonight.
How about another cup, honey?
You seconds on my coffee?
Tastes kind of great tonight.
See? No trick to making coffee. All you need is a better coffee.
Folgers.
Try Folgers, the mountain-grown coffee. Mountain-grown for better flavor.
But now let's consider one of my pet peeves. Women. Of course, they all have to stop by the powder room. Their 10 minutes is gone with a cigarette and putting on a new face. Harry's Diner or the Waldorf. It's all the same. You never know who might be there. And talk about the grapevine. Brother, this is where the original seeds are planted.
The vigor of Latin American coffees, dark and zesty, served black in tiny cups with plenty of sugar.
And where do they go on the way back to the office? You guessed it, the powder room again. And all the readiness procedures and the countless little adjustments known only to a woman.
Al, for the first time in our whole discussion, you're on tilt.
Look into my eyes. I'm going to hypnotize you. Yes, you. Right now. No, don't look away. Look into my eyes. Relax. You want to smoke. You want a smoke that will make your mouth taste fresh? There is such a smoke. It's called Spud. New Spud. It's new. New. It's a completely new filter cigarette. Other cigarettes have filters, but this new Spud has something else. It has a light touch of menthol that freshens the smoke. Something wonderful. New Spud by the makers of Marlboro. New Spud has a filter tip. It has a crush-proof box. It has a fresh taste like it was air-conditioned. You're going to try New Spud tomorrow. You're going to try New Spud. You're going to buy a pack tomorrow.
If the sign which prophesies in the end which brings joy are separate, it is because somewhere we stopped listening to our heartbeat and started on the clock. Taurus Bulba on his deathbed. I have lain with slow dreams and asked, of what love? Behind the door the grove obscures the fallen star, and of the angel of night who may speak? Can you but know?
Flowering star in the night, an angel exclaiming with joy and eternal delight. claiming that boy blows your mind and sad. Who's got it? Who's got the right to stop it from running away?
People come here because it provides a relatively somber atmosphere for talking about the serious concerns of the day, such as life, love, God, and Vietnam.
Out of
It's good to have you home. Good to have you home. Oh, have an apple. Sit down. Rest yourself. Take a load off your feet.
Hey, Daddy, what's new around here, anyway?
What's new? Oh, look at that chart. Look at that chart. And look at that rise in sales. Why, we'll have every man, woman, and child between the ages of 10 and 90 smoking humbars in this country in the next few years.
You know, Dad, from all I've been able to understand, cigarette smoking is really bad for people. In fact, several of the prominent doctors up on the campus say that it's undermining the health of the nation.
Nonsense, son, nonsense. Oh, of course, we get a few complaints now and then, but we got people who will swear by what we claim about cigarettes. Yeah. Of course, we're getting a little less smoking from those people who are afraid of heart trouble, lung cancer, and the like, but if they quit smoking, smokers is just like streetcars. There'll be another one along in a few minutes.
The boiling water now passes over the coffee, and the brewing process begins. The flame is lowered, and, well, watch. The third element is time, and it too must be measured accurately. The minutes counted. The flavor will emerge as the process continues. The taste of coffee heightens and increases until all that is good has been extracted. In this method of brewing, percolator, 6 to 8 minutes over gentle heat, and then the liquid is coffee. From these grounds, there remains nothing more to gain but bitterness. No amount of cooking can extract another ounce of good taste, not another iota of good flavor.
Done to a turn, cascades of precisely roasted beans are released at just the right moment, ready to be freshly sealed into packages the very same day. In this way, you know the coffee you buy is fresh and ready to be custom ground just right for the way you make coffee. Yes, we North Americans really do like coffee. We drink around 120 billion cups a year. After all, drinking coffee is one of life's pleasures, a pleasure that cannot be duplicated by any other beverage.
This is a cup of coffee. Thank you for the coffee.
Yeah, anytime, Joe, anytime.
Well, at least it keeps me close to the problem. But it still leaves me with one vital unanswered question. What can be done about it?
Places all join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LSMFT. Alimentary corners like swinging on a gauge. A right to your honey with a right to left 8. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LSMFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky Strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a Lucky Strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a Lucky Strike.
Perfect coffee, sending its glow into our lives around the clock. It helps us start the day with warmth and vigor. It is a pleasant spur to the morning's work. It provides the essential part of our pause at noon, indispensable during that unhurried hour in a world that often forgets to stop. In the romance of evening, when young dreams glow softly, coffee is always a perfect companion. And after dinner, it is at home in any setting when good taste is important. In the end, it remains a simple thing, easy to attain, well made and well enjoyed. A good cup of good coffee.
habit-forming drugs, no bad after effects are known to result from giving up smoking. The question is then, why do people smoke?
It's sociable.
I never thought why I smoked.
I started smoking when I was quite young. My parents smoked, so do I.
Most people start smoking in imitation of a hero, or because they think that it makes them look important, grown up, or sophisticated, or they just stumble into the habit. But once formed, it is a hard habit to break. On the other hand, smoking is not an inborn, inherited, or natural urge. Beginners, almost without exception, find smoking irritating. Sometimes reactions are quite violent.
That coffee must be stone cold by this time.
Huh? What?
I said that coffee must be stone cold by this time.
Oh, no, Gracie. It's wonderful coffee.
Another cup?
No, Gracie. I've got a lot of prospects to see. Thank you, Gracie.